Hello? Hello? Looks like it works.
Yeah. So, can you explain a brief background of you?
A brief background of me.
Like your life?
My life.
Mhm.
Would you just have to see you in the studio?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll be down there shortly. Well, let's see. I was born a long, long time ago. My father's a Presbyterian minister, and as I was growing up, we moved about every 5 years to a different town where he got a job as a minister at a different church. So
That's cool.
but I grew up in Ohio and Michigan, and as soon as I graduated from high school, I went up to Alaska.
Yeah.
I left home, I hitchhiked actually from Michigan up to Alaska, and went to school at the University of Alaska there. Is it still working?
Yes, it
I
is
think it's still working.
Sorry.
Yeah. So I was a student at the University of Alaska that was in '73. And I was a very poor student. As in, I didn't study. I didn't go to classes. I ended up dropping out, and I became a construction worker. I didn't really have any direction in my life. I started out as a biology major, and then after the first semester, I switched to an art major. And then I dropped out for a long time. But I'd always been a photographer, even from when I was a little kid. So I always loved photography. And eventually, after working in construction for a number of years, I worked on the pipeline, and I worked in home construction. So I like to build things. Eventually, I got a job as a photographer, and I worked first in a job where I was helping to restore these old photographs at the archives at the University of Alaska. And then I became the university's public relations photographer, and I also shot assignments for the local newspaper. And once or twice I was asked to fill in to teach photography classes. And that's when I first discovered that what I really want to be is a photo professor. So it took me a long time to figure it out, but I finally figured it out. And then I went off to grad school and became a photo professor.
So what made you to choose Penn State Harrisburg?
You're not going to like the answer to that question. I was teaching at a university in Singapore, and when I took a job over there, before I was at Singapore, I was teaching at Bowling Green State University in Ohio, and when I took that job in Singapore, it was for 3 years, and I thought, this will be fun, we'll go over to Singapore for 3 years, it'll be a great adventure, and then we'll come back. Well, I didn't think about the end game, about how I was going to come back.
Oh.
And when you're in Singapore and you apply for jobs in the United States, nobody wants to interview you because it's going to cost them a lot of money to fly you over from Singapore.
Oh, yeah, that is true.
So I applied for a whole bunch of jobs, and Penn State Harrisburg's the only one that called me over for interviews. And of course, once they met me, they wanted me. But the only reason I'm here really is because it was the only job I could get. And after I got here, I decided, well, I'm going to stay. I'm going to stay because I'd been jumping around from job to job, just sort of having fun. And eventually you have to stay somewhere to get tenure and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But in fact, I remember I applied for, I don't know, almost 20 different jobs. And I showed the list of all the jobs to my wife, and she was like, they all look good to me except Pennsylvania. I don't want to go to Pennsylvania.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
And of course, that's where we ended up.
Always.
So,
So, how do you feel about teaching photojournalism class now?
I have you know,
Are
this
you
is,
enjoying?
I love it. I've been teaching a basic photo class for over 20 years.
Mhm.
And it's changed, you know, it used to be, before I came here, I always taught photojournalism.
Mhm.
And then once I got here, it turned into not photojournalism. It was more
Mhm.
like communications photography,
Mm.
sort of half artsy, half news.
Mhm.
So, but now I'm teaching this photojournalism class, and it's fun. It's kind of fun to get back to that, which is sort
Mhm.
of my roots.
True. Mm. What's your like future plan after like retirement? Do you have any?
I am actually planning to retire not too far off in the future. It's probably going to be, I don't know, 4 years or 5 years, something like that. And I am going to move to Maine, where we have a cottage now. A summer
So move
cottage.
to UP? Like Maine, UP?
No. The state of Maine, which is, next to Vermont and New Hampshire. And Never heard of it? It's a state. It's one of the 50 states, and it's the furthest northeast state, way up in the corner of the country. It's right next to Canada.
Oh, never heard of.
Yep. So we have a house up there, and we have a sailboat, and we go sailing in the ocean up there all the time.
That's cool.
So I want to get back and do more sailing in Maine. And then maybe get a bigger sailboat and sail it down to the Caribbean. I want to
That's
do that
cool.
too. Someplace warm. Because Maine, the water's pretty cold up there. A lot of whales and seals and that kind of stuff, so it's kind of cold water. It's pretty though, it's beautiful.
That's cool. I love pretty places.
Good lobster.
Good lobsters. That's awesome. I love lobster. So if you can live abroad, not like America, where would it be?
Oh, I don't know. You know, we lived in Singapore for 3 years.
And you lived in Alaska.
And I lived in Alaska. I love Australia.
Australia.
I love Thailand too, but I don't know if I want to live in Thailand.
Yeah, Thailand.
It's kind of hot there.
Yeah, it's pretty hot.
I mean, Singapore is right near the equator. It's very warm there too.
Really?
Have you ever been to Bali?
No,
Indonesia? Oh, it's so beautiful.
want to.
It's really beautiful.
My mom went there, and she was like, "Oh, I love Bali. I want to go back." Mom, don't
Hawaii's
leave
pretty
me.
nice too.
I've been to Hawaii. It's so
Have you?
cool.
Yeah.
You should go to Korea. Korea's pretty
I've been to
interesting.
Korea.
Really?
I have, yeah.
Oh yeah, you told me this.
Went to Chengdu and Gwangju. Sorry, Gwangju. Yeah.
It's pretty cool
It's
to live.
southern part of the country. Yeah, it is beautiful there.
Oh, kinda. Not really.
It's kind of crowded.
Yeah, it is. It's
But,
too much.
I mean, we went up into this place in the mountains where there was this like Buddhist monastery and these really ancient Buddhist temples.
There's a
It
lot
was
of
really
temples.
beautiful.
They are beautiful, even though I'm not kind of people with.
I shot a lot of photos
Really?
there of those things. I should show them to you sometime.
Yeah, you should. I would love to, cause I've never been to like outside of cities. I don't really go to like countryside of Korea, so I don't know about Korea really. So I like to like see like pictures of like other parts of Korea.
Yeah, it's
It's
beautiful.
cool. So, I don't know. What is your favorite subject to take picture of? Like
People.
landscape, people? Oh. I hate taking pictures. I don't like.
I love photographing people. I think people
Really?
are so captivating. I mean, the photographs, when you see a face, you're just drawn to the picture of a face. So.
It is, but it's so hard. Like I can't really take pictures of. Ah! Oh God, I great
I
camera.
want to see the picture, but it's not.
Yeah, but it's the point of film camera. I love it. Like, I love to not see pictures. And then, like, after, like, you go to dark room and you see it.
Yeah, you
like,
get to look at the negatives, like,
mhm.
ooh, that one turned out good.
I love that. That's why I love film camera. I wish I had one to just have it and take pictures.
They're very cheap now.
Really?
Yeah, they're giving them away.
Really?
I bought
should-
this on eBay for $150, and like, 5 years ago, this would have been $400, so the price has plummeted.
That's
So,
not bad at all.
Yeah.
That's cool.
In fact, I had one just like it that I used for 30 years, and I dropped it once about 3 years ago, and it stopped working. So I went on eBay, and I was like, oh my God, they're so cheap. I bought 2 of them.
Really? I should look for it. But it's kind of hard when you don't have dark room.
We have a dark room.
Can you like use